Thanks for joining us, everyone. We've got a fun space talking about gaming on MultiversX and a couple great projects joining us. We got XOXNO co-hosting with us.
Hi.
And go ahead and share. Go ahead, get people in here. Let's get it going. What's going on, XOXNO?
Hey, Dave. All good. Everything's good. Thanks for hosting the space. How is it going for you?
Oh, it's great. It's Friday. No complaints.
Yeah,
Weather's
true.
looking good. Got a good crew here, good space. Looking forward to a good chat. So, yeah, loving it. And yeah, we've got, for those just coming in, we've got HomeX that we're going to be talking to, as well as Exo Studios. And let's see, are we missing anyone else? I don't think so. So we're going to kind of just jump right into it. And how this is going to work, we're going to chat with each project for about 10 to 20 minutes. And then at the end, we'll open it up to questions. So if you guys have questions at the end, feel free to pop them in the chat down below or raise your hand. We'll bring people up. It will have 10 to 20 minutes or so of Q&A. But yeah, welcome to our guests. And again, share it out. Let's get some people in here and let's get started. We're going to start with HomeX. We got HomeX here. Go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself, your team, and your project, and what's going on.
Hello, good evening. Do you hear me right?
Yep, all good.
Sorry for my voice. I have a bit of a cold.
You sound perfect. You're good.
Hi, I'm Flat White. I'm the team lead of HomeX. I've got along with me Wizard. He's the lead dev of our project. We are a team of 7, based mainly in Romania. We have a strong background in architecture and tech. And in the Web3 space, we've been in the ecosystem for more than 1.5 years, but mainly on ETH and Tezos. But the main reason for coming back to MultiversX was to build at a smaller scale. We wanted to develop a stronger framework because our vision is for the community to become this architect of our home. HomeX basically has 3 essential parts that only work when all together: art, story, and utility. In order for them to exist, we've had to build first, we have to deliver fast, but we have to continue building together alongside our community. So for that reason, our first step was to design a straightforward gamified experience that we can launch from day one, and to be native to the Web3 consumer, because that will help our holders get familiar with our brand, story, vision, and will establish a solid foundation, so to speak. The season 1 of our Play and Earn will be basically a story-driven browser game with a weekly quest system that will reward our members from the very beginning. So at first, all you need to do is complete some quests in an optimal order for you to gather as many resources and tokens as possible in the given time limit to unlock tickets, which will equal chances in the prize pool. The story and the lore will be presented each step and each quest at a time, and the rewards will vary from e-gold to NFTs to more tickets or in-game resources. So to conclude, being heavy.
Could you give us an example of one of these quests? What might one look like?
Yeah. Today we've released the wiki. You can, if someone can drop it in the comment section. So basically the quest will have 3 components. We'll have the cost that implies the resources, the native MVX tokens. Also, the reward will basically be also the another type of resources, in-game resources. And the only thing that stands between them is a vesting time or a cooldown or duration, however you want to call it. So basically, the whole strategy at first will be to complete these quests and to balance your resources to be able to do as much as you can to unlock the tickets that will earn you the rewards.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. And so, where did you get this inspiration from, or are there other games that you like that you've seen that do something similar, or where's this all coming from?
Yeah, at first we have aimed mainly for accessibility. That was our main focus. That's why we have developed this gamified staking experience. And we in Web3 we have a lot of similar stuff like Tezotopia on Tezos. We have the Chimpers on ETH. We have the gamified mint experience, for example, from Bored Ape Yacht Club, the Donkey Dash, but also a lot from the more lore and story driven and puzzle games from Web 2. uh, and to go back in time also to Bite Fight, also to crafting recipes games that you can find also in World of Warcraft. And also given our artistic background, a lot of inspiration was drawn from books like Dune and stuff like that.
Very cool. And so you said your team does have a strong artistic background. What about gaming background? Does your team have experience building and obviously playing games?
uh, Playing for sure. uh, Half of our team are architects, and the other half, two of them are developers, wizard and a tech consultant that currently lives in the US. But we definitely have experience in building artistic projects. But in gaming per se, we can definitely say we are heavy consumers.
Very cool. Okay. And could you kind of give us a brief rundown of your roadmap, what you've got planned for the rest of this year and onwards?
So the first step will be to launch, as I've said, this first chapter of the game right on time and right after the mint. This will give us the advantage of avoiding unnecessary delays and of integrating updates more easily. And once things start rolling, updates to the quest system will become available, and the story and the lore will take a more center stage, so to speak. Will tie basically everything together. And from there, we can expand our world and build towards more rewarding and complex mechanism alongside the community, and also according to their creative direction. That is our whole vision. And at the same time, uh, we want to transform HomeX into an artistic umbrella. Uh, Not to repeat myself, but given our artistic background, we want to convert it to a proper hub, so to speak, outside of the game, gathering this group of minds, preferably from both inside and outside of the digital space, and to break this Web3 scene and bridge this gap to Web 2, especially due to the nature of our branding and our system.
Got it. Okay. And so when you say artistic hub, could you expand on that a little bit more? What do you mean exactly?
Yes. As I've said, because we have a deep background in architecture, uh, we would want to develop this studio or gallery, this platform for artists from both digital and non-digital space. For example, community activations through a digital and physical gallery or studio. And of course, future partnerships with both Web 2 and Web 3 brands, cross-chain partnerships, and also in real life exhibitions, because we think content is what attracts people outside of this ecosystem and builds emotion. That's why we work hard to deliver a message in order for our products to make sense. Because, like I've said, this nature of our branding, the vision and the utility, we think lies on the border of Web 3 and Web 2. So we have to make our mission to move towards both of them and bridge this gap.
Very cool. Yeah, and sounds fairly unique too. I can't think of many projects or any teams that are really tackling that. So very cool. What about you, Ilyana? You have any questions you'd like to ask for HomeX? You still there with me? I think she's there. If not, we could always move on. We'll move into community questions towards the end too. So again, if you guys have any questions, go ahead, toss them down in the chats, and you could raise your hand at the end. We'll bring some people up, and we can do some Q&A with these teams. And so yeah, let's move on to Exo Studios. We got another project here that is doing some building a game as well. So you see we have a couple speakers here, so feel free, one of you guys, come on up and tell us a little bit about yourself, your team, and your project. What's going on with everything?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here. Hello, DB Crypto. Hello, Exo. No, everyone else. I'm gonna start with a short introduction, and then I'm gonna let my colleague take it on from there, so he can explain you better what we have been doing in Exo. So Exo is a play-to-earn game, fully on-chain, multi-chain very soon. We are coming from the Ethereum Polygon side, where we launched our project last year, and now we are taking the multi-chain route, and we are looking into launching our project as well on MultiversX. The new launch is, of course, coming with some improvements, updates, and new features for the players to enjoy. And once we will be on both chains running independently, we will be looking into cross-chaining the two, and becoming hopefully a cross-chain game, as everybody is racing into nowadays. Now I'll let my colleague, Mihai, speak in more detail about the project. Thank you for having us, and we'll be on here.
Perfect. Mike's yours. Moving.
Thank you. So, as my colleague briefly mentioned, we're talking about a strategy game that is fully on chain. So that means that everything that you do is not governed by a database, but by the actual transactions on the actual blockchain. The whole origin of the game is basically a space game. It's a strategy game in which the player, as the leader of the civilization of a planet, guides that particular planet to evolution, through gathering more stats, and eventually bringing it to PvP, where a planet can actually attack another planet. And more than that, we will have a PvE aspect of the game, which means that all the players inside the galaxy will be able to attack one NPC character and reap the rewards. How it works is basically we have an in-game currency that each user can use the faucet every day, and they are able to draw from that faucet and use those tokens to research items, and those items can be used to either evolve the level of the planet or customize the class of the planet. We have multiple classes. Some of them allow you to make the researches faster. Some of them allow you to make the researches cheaper. Some of them increase your attack and defense and so on. The in-game items themselves are SFTs, so that means that once a player researches one of these items, they have a choice. They can either sell them on the marketplace or use them and evolve their planet. Another thing that we are basically working towards is the whole concept of expanding the Exo universe, and we're already working on concept art for season 2. We have a lot of plans to develop this into a lot more experiences. Right now, the game is in browser, and you are able to play it both from your desktop and your mobile. And we're planning to have the game available immediately after Mint.
Got it. And when is Mint scheduled?
We currently do not have this public because we did not decide yet because we are in the community building phase. So we are currently looking to gather as many like-minded individuals that would join our community and grow it together. Because a very important part for us, and I know that everybody says that, but I truly believe that without a community, any project cannot survive. Because we truly believe in that saying, we're also looking at setting up something that we're calling the EXO Fund, which is a community-driven DAO, where the stakeholders are the planet owners. And the whole purpose of this EXO Fund is to support, through grants, projects from within the community that expand on the EXO IP. So that is one of the things that we're planning to do. Another thing that is very important, and I would like to stress, is that we're also coming with, let's say, technical innovation from the Ethereum side, which is dynamic NFTs. We're envisioning NFTs more similar to how in-game avatars exist and perform. So, for example, in any game, you are able to change the look of your character, and it starts from a very lowly beginning, and it can grow to have more armors and different helmets and etc. And the idea is that you as an individual can evolve that NFT that you have, both through customizing the visibility of your traits and at the same time acquiring new traits through either winning them in battles or from activities, quests, and so on.
Very cool. And so these would be dynamic NFTs, and would all these upgrades be NFTs themselves?
That's correct. So the whole idea is to leverage the process of the concept of SFTs, which means that there are multiple of one thing, and once you use them, they get burned, and the properties of those items get applied to your planet. So when it comes to in-game items, for example, you can have items that increase your attack or defense, and you can decide to either use them, and once you decide to use them, that SFT gets burned and your in-game stats jump up. Or when we're talking about the cosmetic part, the wardrobe part, those items, when you apply them, you change the whole look of your NFT, not just in game, but also for others to see.
Got it. Okay. And so, have you guys taken any inspiration from other games, or where did you guys come up with the idea for this?
So we actually started working on this. I think we're close to a year and a half ago. The whole team basically behind it has a lot of experience in visual effects. We have visual effects artists that have worked in the industry for 15, 18, 20 years. Illustrators our illustrators, basically, we've been very fortunate to have them on the team because they also worked on either AAA games or TV shows such as Game of Thrones or Kill Shot or Horizon Zero Dawn. Also, the game developers that are on the team have been involved in AAA games. Obviously, a lot of people know that Romania is very popular when it comes to games. So everybody shares a passion for sci-fi, and I think that is and was the driving force behind us coming up with the whole idea. And it all started actually with a short movie that we've made. It's a 7-minute short movie that tells the story of how the exo universe started. And starting with that, we came up with the different ideas of how the game would evolve, how the game would be played, what would be the game look, what would be the game mechanics. We've been fortunate enough to also have on the team several people who have a lot of experience when it comes to game economics and working together on properly designing the tokenomics aspect of the project. Uh, and we decided to basically, okay, we've played all these sci-fi games, we've seen all these movies and TV shows. Now it's time to bring our own contribution to the genre.
Love it. Love it. Very cool. And so I know you guys are working, or I believe you guys are working with the Giants as well, the Giants NFT project and the game that's coming out as well. So can you tell us a
Yeah,
little bit about what's going on there?
that's correct. So we've been fortunate enough to have the Giants as partners, and coming in from the EVM universe, let's say, different, and the MVX performs in opposition to EVM is so different. So we've been fortunate enough to have them on the team as partners to help us with the contracts and making sure that that everything is up to par when it comes to both the quality of the contracts and security, and humoring us with the different crazy ideas that we have when it comes to technical requirements and so on.
Awesome. Yeah, I see we've got Razvan down in the audience down there. And so you guys are probably in close communications working with their team, which is great to hear.
Yes,
And yeah,
I'm not sure.
so
Sometimes Rizwan hates me. Sometimes Rizwan I think likes me, but he's an amazing guy, and it's been awesome to work alongside him.
awesome. Yeah, I definitely follow their project. I'm an investor in the Giants NFTs as well, so I love it, and that's great to hear. And so, could you kind of give us an idea of your roadmap, the plans coming up? I know you said you've got the NFT mint and then the game to launch immediately after. You don't have a specific timeline, but are we looking at sometime this quarter, next quarter, and what are we looking at for the next year or so for you guys?
So we're looking at definitely this quarter. I do not want to say more than that, but it's probably going to be sooner rather than later. The
That's
on the
always a
roadmap
safe
we
bet.
yeah. On the roadmap, we obviously have well, a lot of the things that we have planned are also outlined in the white paper, because I think that explains a lot of how the tokenomics work and how the different parts of the ecosystem of our own mini ecosystem work. We have plans to very shortly after mint open the staking aspect of the game. It was funny actually, because somebody from our community mentioned that we actually have two types of staking planned, because one of them is implied, because people receive this in-game currency, which is also obviously because to the holding on to the planet. So it's an implied staking, but also we have the actual token staking, which will bring also rewards in game for the people who will be staking it. Afterwards, we are going to unveil the lending platform, because we also believe that because of the limited nature of how NFTs collection work, it would be a great help to the community to also have this lending aspect where somebody can lend one of these NFTs and be able to jump in and play the game and participate. And everything else basically points us towards season two. In season two, we have a lot of other crazy things planned, such as whole new class of players where you would have different classes of spaceships. I didn't mention it because we're already getting very complicated. Each planet basically has their own resources, and in season two, we're actually planning on using those resources. So we're introducing them early, but we're planning to use them in season two, where you would have, for example, mining vessels that could dock, land on a planet, and harvest and mine those resources of that planet. Obviously, after striking a deal with the owner of the planet, and those resources would basically get shipped by a transport vessel to a trading outpost where the whole community can trade those resources. And once you have enough resources and you have the blueprints, you will be able to craft other items that will be used by other players in the game. So we have quite a stuffy roadmap ahead of us, and we actually can't wait to get there.
Yeah, you guys definitely have a lot going on. What size is your team?
Well, it depends. The core team is roughly 7 to 8 people, but we have a lot of other people who are on and off on the team, especially because, for example, illustrators aren't always on because that's the nature of how these things work.
Makes sense. Yeah. And okay, so yeah, we're gonna move into some kind of general questions for both projects here. And for the audience, if you guys have questions, feel free to raise your hand. I'm not actually seeing the chat for some reason here. So if anyone's putting some questions in the chat, I can't see any of them. So I don't know if you can, Uliana, but maybe someone has been posting questions. I cannot see them for some reason. But
For now, I also
anyways,
can't see them, but I will try to check again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, but if you do have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll be bringing people up pretty soon. And the kind of general stuff for both projects. What made you choose MultiversX? Feel for anyone could jump in first.
Oh, can I say or?
Yeah, go ahead.
At first, I would want to tell about why we have choosing the Web3, and because I've speak a lot between this bridge between Web2 and Web3, but mainly we've chosen the Web3 first of all because the technology. We thought it's better to catch, let's say, the train at the very beginning and try to move towards, like I've said, a more decentralized governance. Our community. Second of all, the pace of development and the reach to communities, because yes, we can have a lot of disadvantage compared to Web2 numbers, but we think it's the perfect environment to create alongside your own crowd. And the most important thing to us and the most vital, so to speak, aspect for us would be that this space has created this perfect balance between art and technology. And it created a solid starting point for artistic projects to take a new turn. So basically, Web3 created this sort of utopia, and we take it as a potential and has a clear vision, we believe, of unifying these deep, fragmented audiences. So to go back to your question, the first contact we've had with crypto was MVX, because of course we're both from Romania. But but after that, we wanted to absorb as much as we can from other sources. So that's why we've gone to other chains. But we've come back here because we think all is moving more organically. So we thought that we could do a more steady building and develop a more solid foundation, even if it's at a smaller scale. But this scalable infrastructure would give us the advantage to make our vision to build new worlds suitable. Uh, and of course, it is a space that in which we can develop this artistic scene.
Got it. Okay, love it. So basically looking more towards the future and what you can build and grow with versus just diving into something that may have a big community or user base right now. You see the benefits of what the MultiversX team is offering and growing with it from what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Awesome. What about you guys over at Exo Studios?
So there's a couple of things. We're looking at the Exo game similar to how traditional games come out with different versions. You would have a version for the PC Master Race, then you would have a version for PlayStation, one for Xbox, one for Nintendo, and so on. And in the beginning, any interaction that you as a player have is within that little bubble. So you would only be able to interact and battle against other people on PlayStation if you are on PlayStation. At the same time, sooner rather than later, things evolve and cross-playing comes up. So that means that you, as a PlayStation player, you are able to interact and battle somebody who's on PC or on Xbox and so on. So that's basically very similar to our future plans. We're looking at the Polygon side, which was chosen because of how fast the block time and transition time is and how cheap it is. And we have MVX, which we actually chose as the first one to receive the V2 of EXO, and with all the improvements and everything else, because of how NFTs are actually treated as first-class citizen. I don't want to bore you with the details, and I don't want to bore anybody in the audience with the technical details, but basically it's very different to have it's very different how NFTs are implemented than what EVM considers NFTs. So then basically we would probably look at another chain, and once we actually enable cross-chain, how like my colleague mentioned, you would be able to attack a planet from Polygon, a Polygon planet from your planet, which is on MBX. And well, not to be discounted, but we feel that as opposed to the whole EVM side, the MVX community as a whole is a lot more tight-knit. And regardless that it's smaller, I think it functions somehow better and towards a more united direction.
Makes sense. So it sounds like you're going to be primarily doing your mint on MultiversX, or will you be doing a mint on Matic as well?
That would be after. So the main mint, the first mint, is going to be on MVX.
Very cool. Okay, awesome. And so for both of you guys, again, since GameFi, gaming on the blockchain is huge right now. Projects are popping up all over the place. How do you guys feel like you're going to be able to separate yourself from the pack, and what you're doing differently, how you're going to market differently, draw in the crowd that you're looking to attract, and really take your game to the next level, get a lot of users?
So basically, our main thing, as I said, is the accessibility. So we have this conviction that this type of format it's a great start for non-gamers, and at the same time, it could address a larger audience. Because we know that not everyone on Web3 has the necessary time to sit and play constantly. So the system we propose would be easy to comprehend for casual players because it addresses all types of participants, even if you're a heavy gamer or just a holder or just a collector. So the system also has a high risk, high reward component integrated throughout the raffle system, which allows you the flexibility to develop your own strategy in terms of play. And we are pretty sure that many of you who are familiar with web games and quest systems, and for us, it was the right call to use this structure or blueprint as a start, since we are a very story-driven project. But the main plan is to evolve and take input from the community and adapt along the way, because it's not a secret that many of the successful projects from this space started with a roadmap and they ended up doing something else even better than what they planned initially. A key factor for a successful project in our vision is this flexibility. So you need to be able to experiment and grow together with your community if you want to have a long-term vision for your project. So always the end goals would be to build and create around the community and the project story.
That's great, and I love that you were talking about how the casual gaming experience too, because I feel like that can be missing with a lot of games.
Yeah,
I don't game as much anymore as I used to, but being able to do it without having to do it many hours a day sometimes, I think that's a great benefit. So I love that.
yeah. We think the fun of our game will be in the ease and familiar nuance of the game's actions. Basically staking, doing quests, grinding, and lore development. So it kind of has a larger palette.
Makes sense. Very cool. And what about you guys, EXO?
I think that we have quite a few differentiators that help us, well, differentiate, for lack of a better word. One of the things is basically the fact that, as opposed to other games, we are committed to being fully on chain when it comes to everything that you are able to do in the game. So any research, any transaction, any attack, whether it's PvP or PvE, achievements and everything else, everything is going to be on chain for everybody to see and for and to have to take advantage of everything that the blockchain actually offers. Another differentiator, and we're happy to be the first ones to be doing this, is dynamic NFTs, and having the NFTs evolve along the journey of a player from a level 0 planet all the way to having like the biggest, badassest planet in his corner of the galaxy, at least. And the fact that every in-game item that you as a player are able to use, whether it's a game item that is a class item or an evolution item or a ship item or anything else, or a wardrobe item which is only purely cosmetic, is an actual SFT that can be also traded with others. That actually enables a lot more playing styles, because we'll definitely be seeing players who will commit more time to researching and evolving their planet, and at the same time we'll be seeing players who will only probably stay at the first or second level and just farming and researching those in-game items that are only available in the first level, and selling them on the market for other players who want to, let's say, skip the line and get a head start in their planet's evolution. So there's also, like you mentioned, this lack of time which everybody experiences. So there's not that much time left for gaming. So that's why we also try to come up with a way in which you can go in, do your researches, do some attacks, come back later, see how the research is going, apply your items, attack some more, and do some achievements in that time.
Got it. Okay. And quick question for both projects before we bring up a couple of people that jumped up to the stage. What is your personal favorite game you've ever played on any platform? Let's start with HomeX.
I'll let Wizard talk a bit here. He's a more heavy gamer than me.
Perfect. Come on up if there you are, Wizard.
Hey, hello guys. Hope you can hear me fine.
Yep, all good.
Yeah, thank you for passing the question. I would say my all-time favorite game is old school RuneScape, which was just called RuneScape back when I was younger. I love that game, and we actually took it as kind of an inspiration for our system as well, because it's very limited graphics-wise, but very, very expansive and very, very rich in lore, storytelling, and it has this distinct quality, I would say, that it lets you imagine a lot of the stuff, and it doesn't give you everything from the start. It only gives you certain quests and certain storylines, and then it lets you imagine the rest of the universe. And I don't know, for me, that was something really cool.
For sure, yeah, great game. I'm sure that there's plenty of people in the audience that are familiar with RuneScape too. So awesome. And over to Exo Studios. What about you guys? What's favorite game you've ever played on any platform?
So I'm going to be choosing three. I know you said one, but I can't. So when it comes to the story, probably my favorite of all time is God of War. So that's bar none, from my point of view, I think one of the most awesome ways to tell a story and the whole story itself and so on. From a grinding point of view and from a game that you just cannot quit, I think it's always going to be for me World of Warcraft. And just remembering all those endless nights where I went raiding with 40 other individuals, that opened a lot of ideas and about how massively multiplayer games should be. And third but not least, and I know that it's not actually technically on any platform, but from the point of view of using your imagination to create something out of nothing, I think Dungeons and Dragons is definitely in my top three. In my top three.
That's awesome. You guys definitely chose some big games too, and I love them. I haven't played any of them in a while, but I'm sure the audience is definitely very familiar with most of those. So very cool. So let's get to a couple of the community questions. I know we've got Steven that jumped up to the mic. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's morning for me over here, but good morning, good afternoon, evening, depending on where you are in the world. So thank you to everybody who is here talking about your project. Pretty cool to hear just from the team today. My question is a little bit more just kind of broad. I'm not sure exactly if there are any developers here on the mic. The question was asked before, why MultiversX? And you mentioned about the tight-knit community and maybe attacking a smaller, closer community. But for those within the MultiversX NFT space, I think although I think it's across the board, everybody here really loves the tech and really loves the team and the user interfaces. So bringing into the context the different chains that you've worked with and you plan to build on, I guess, with how you've dealt with some of the other chains and how you've now, been learning MultiversX, I guess, do you, I mean, I'm going to ask this question. It sounds a little bit skeptical, like I don't believe in MultiversX, but I'm just going to frame it that way anyway. And the question is, with what you've seen from your perspective, do you see MultiversX as expanding exponentially so to where right now we have this tight-knit community that might be a smaller audience compared to these other chains, but with your experience, basically the question is just where do you see MultiversX in the scheme of this Web3 adoption and NFT and gamification experience? Do you think that MultiversX should be a larger community is kind of what I'm questioning, just given the scope and the perspective that you have working in the space, if that makes sense.
I can actually respond on that because I was the one who developed this game on our side. We have also, or I personally have also tried to develop and build projects, some small projects on Solana and Aptos. And I would say that I was pretty shocked when I discovered that the MultiversX community is not that big, because my first contact with the development world of MultiversX, I was in my first contact, I was very, very pleasantly surprised. I would say that it's very easy for a new developer to get into this stuff, and the documentation is very, very solid. There's a lot of people who help you. There are groups where you can talk with the guys who are maintaining the code. You can ask questions, and they can help you a lot. And I would say that this can be the driving force of this chain, because when developers, let's say, when they scout this blockchain and see how easy it is to develop on it, a lot of them will be hooked, and it will be, let's say, very tasty, for the lack of a better word, for them to come here and develop. That's just my opinion.
Nice. Thanks for that context. And as kind of a follow-up, I mean, naturally, if more people come along and have these same realizations such that you just shared, I think the implication there is that the people that were there to help you out and answer questions and so forth, in a world where many more people see the value of MultiversX, how is MultiversX going to scale to continue to offer that level of attention and support to new people coming in to develop? So feel free to respond to that, unless you can respond to this question as well. With that being said, just how that's going to be, for lack of a better term, a problem. Limited resources, and when it comes to conversations had within MultiversX, there's this idea of we're not competing to take from each other's pieces of pie. Instead, we're trying to add to make the pie bigger. So any thoughts, any responses from anybody or Wizard, just with regard to, even for, I guess, including people that don't have development experience, ways that you think might be useful for the community to, as we grow and expand, to continue to band together, I guess, and continue to provide that support that, like you said, was meaningful for you whenever you kind of started getting into it. So yeah, any responses anybody has, I mean, including you, Dave, of course. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. Thanks for the mic here and opportunity to ask some questions.
No, I appreciate you coming up. I think Exo's got something to say on that. So what do you guys?
Yeah, so there are a couple of layers to your question, and I would like to address them in turn. Basically, when it comes to the advantages from a technical point of view, I think I briefly touched on them. I think that the way that NFTs and SFTs are treated as first-class citizens as opposed to other chains is a definite advantage. Another advantage that I see from a technical point of view is how closely they are also looking at what technical aspects that can be improved, and obviously what other tools can be brought to the developers in order to help them achieve their goals from a technical point of view. When it comes to the way that people get introduced to MVX, for example, we actually brought quite a few people over from Polygon over to MVX, which believe in the ExoVision project, and they want to also be a part of MVX. So they did not know about it. They wanted to come with us, and they discovered MVX in the process. And I think that when it comes to the way that a chain can grow is by the quality of the projects that can be found on that chain and the technical, let's say, prowess that it allows for those projects and for the developers. Moreover, on your last question, how we would see the scalability, I think that this basically happens in a lot of fields. Even if right now a lot of the answers come from the developers themselves, I think the part of the responsibility will fall on the developers that are building projects on MVX to help the new wave of developers coming in from either from the Web2 space or from other chains, which means that the whole community and the developers from that community are going to, at some point, start picking those low-hanging fruit when it comes to questions and responding to the different questions that are easier to answer.
Yeah, that's great to hear, and I definitely love how the community and the devs are really stepping up and backing all this and helping contribute to the tools and the resources, because I've heard from a lot of developers that the tools are lacking, or at least they were. They're coming along nicely, but there's still a ways to go as far as really having an easy onboarding experience for developers and making it simple for them to move into the ecosystem. So that's great to hear. And kind of a follow-up to Steven's question regarding the tech and the my main thing is on the token architecture. So I've done a lot of content on this if anyone's read my threads and is familiar. But since MultiversX, their NFTs and tokens are so different than most other blockchains, do you feel that's going to help or hinder adoption? Because look at, for example, all the Ethereum and EVM compatible chains, they're all easily listable on OpenSea, which then helps explode their volume. And chains like MultiversX and Cardano, not so much, because both have native tokens, which require a little bit more work in the background, and it's just not as easy to integrate. So I'm really curious to hear. I see Wizard's got his hand up here, and he's a dev, so I'm sure you've got some strong opinions on the token architecture and whether it's going to help or hinder MultiversX in the future.
Yes, I also wanted to add some small comment on the previous question. Basically, what Exo said was very well put. This is exactly what we have to do to provide smooth adoption for new developers. There's another aspect which I think is extremely important, is the open sourceness of the projects on MVX and whatever blockchain you want to join. For people who don't know, open source means when developers put their code open to the public on the internet. So let's say for me, which was exactly the case when I first started developing on MVX, I discovered a lot of open source projects put by other developers, one of which was extremely important for my understanding of this network. So props to them for putting their code online basically for free. And this is, I think, essential because the MVX team, I don't know really how many employees they have, but I would guess around 100. But it's just a limited team. I mean, they they can work 8 hours a day just like us, but they can do magic. So we as developers, we also have to help the community by, providing freebies and like Exo said, answering questions and so on. Yeah, and regarding the NFT part, I would say that I don't have a lot of experience on EVM chains. I did dabble a bit in Solidity and how it works. I would say that there are advantages and disadvantages. For example, for EVM chains, in order to mint some NFTs, you have to implement a already existing contract, which is a standard like ERC 721. I don't know the number exactly, and I think that is very interesting from the fact that there are people who come up with better token standards where you can basically. I know that on Ethereum, the project Azuki, they created this new token standard where it was easier to, and it cost a lot less gas to mint new NFTs. And from that point of view, it's great because people can actually improve the architecture of the blockchain. However, there's the problem of adoption, because if, for example, I write a new contract and a new standard, and that standard is great, people will not adopt it because they are used to the old standards. So I don't know, it's a pretty tricky situation.
Yeah, great point. And it definitely, it has me torn as well as to where everything is going to go as far as if it's going to help or hinder. So anyone else have anything else they want to say on that from the HomeX or XO team?
Yeah, I'd like to add something to it. Basically, the way that EVMs work, they don't work necessarily on the contracts, but they have implemented interface standards. So, like our friends from HomeX mentioned, you have the ERC 721 and 1155, which is the NFT and SFT interface implementation, which means only that a certain contract needs to have a certain specific functions in order to be supported by the marketplaces and other third-party consumers. But you mentioned that Cardano, for example, doesn't have access on OpenSea, but that makes sense because they are not on EVM, and Solana, for example, their NFTs, they aren't on OpenSea, they're on their own marketplace, which resides on that chain. At the same time, not all EVM-based the chains are equal, because you have the main one, the L1 Ethereum blockchain, and you would have the second level, the L2, where you have chains such as Polygon or Immutable X or Avalanche or whatever. But out of the three that I just mentioned on L2, only Polygon is present on OpenSea. So Immutable X, even if it is an L2 type system chain, and it is an EVM type chain, it doesn't have access on OpenSea. So I don't think that it's necessarily a drawback of the way that the chain is structured and the tokens are structured, because from a technical point of view, any chain, you learn how its internal work, and you can manage as a developer. But the main consumer should be regular people, not developers. And as long as the process is seamless and you have certain marketplaces such as our friends from XOXNO, which are present also here, offer a very easy way to interact with these NFTs and export them with tokens and everything else, then the adoption should not necessarily depend on the technical aspect, but more on the projects and the scale of the community, which obviously, as I mentioned, grows either organically or based on the projects that it hosts.
For sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I appreciate you sharing that, your thoughts on that. So we do have two other people that have come up to the mic, and so we'll get to their questions, and then we'll probably wrap up in about 5 to 10 minutes. Next up we have is Decibel. If you're still there, go ahead. What's going on? You still there? I know you came up to the mic a while ago, so I'm not sure if you're still there. Don, are you there? You could jump up if you want.
Yeah, dude, you know I'm here.
There you are. What's up, buddy?
How's everybody this morning, afternoon, or evening?
Doing great. No complaints.
Hope everybody's getting their push-ups in. Bike rides, whatever. Stay healthy. I have a question for XO. I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here for you for a second. If someone was looking at your floor price on OpenSea, what would be your response to someone maybe saying you're coming here for liquidity? And would you consider your project a success on Ethereum? That would be the two questions, looking at your floor price, and do you feel like that is a success on Ethereum? And then the natural question after that would be, would you be coming here for liquidity, to gain extra liquidity to maybe, further production of the game? Or how would you respond to that?
Hey, Don Paulo. I'm gonna jump in and answer this question real quick. Our floor price on OpenSea does not reflect what we're aiming to do with our project. To say so, we did not launch our project on OpenSea searching for liquidity, because XO has been developed and funded 100% privately. So we are not looking to launch on another chain in order to look for liquidity purposes, but we are looking into scaling our project and to create awareness. So basically, from where we stand, the situation is very simple. We are not looking into a big bang. We are treating it as a business and as an ongoing business, and whatever we do is to bring awareness, to create adoption, whether that adoption means at a slower pace or at a faster one. In very few words.
Okay, fair enough.
To add something, basically those are floor prices of the planets that were free minted in the beginning, so that's not necessarily reflective on the project. And obviously, there are discussions between the different types of communities.
Okay, fair enough. You just have to pardon me because I'm actually doing my push-ups, so I'm a little out of breath. Yeah. This is definitely not against you guys and ladies, if you have ladies on your team. However, it's just, I had personal experience on MultiversX where we actually kicked a project out. We don't have to highlight who they were. We told them as long as they move quietly, we won't bring attention to them. And of course, I'm going to honor that. But you could understand the worry that we have here of projects, and I'm not saying your project has failed, right? I was just playing devil advocate. But we definitely do, and we did. I mean, I was personally involved in kicking one of these projects out that actually came from Polygon, then went to Ethereum, then they came to MultiversX. And they asked basically for our help, and I was like, buddy, they owed over $120,000 to their Polygon and Ethereum holders, and essentially were coming to MVX back when it was Elron to come here, take our liquidity, and go back and make good on the promises that they made to Polygon and Ethereum. So I'm sure you guys can understand my concern when we have a project coming over from another chain. So I hope that's fully understandable to you guys.
Absolutely. So we're happy to discuss it. As we already stated previously, we actually started with saying that we're coming from that chain. From our point of view, it's not a migration; it's an expansion. The MVX launch basically is going to be followed by the relaunch of the version 2, the new and improved version on Ethereum. We do not have any debts, and definitely we have invested a lot more than those guys owed from from the project that you mentioned. So, bottom line, obviously understandable when it comes to your worries. Happy to discuss, and we've been always transparent when it comes to our whole journey as a project.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. And you know what's even more telling is you're willing to talk about this stuff, because as we know, a lot of people get kicked out. Oh, you're fudding me and blah 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 blah. When it's totally legit questions. So I really really appreciate the responses.
Not just that, but we are also basically a docs team, and everything that we've done in public, and we did not in any way hide where we're coming from and how our plans of expanding. Again, we're not thinking about coming to MVX as a migration from that chain, but as an expansion, because as previously mentioned during the course of this space, the end goal for us is to be present on multiple chains and to enable this cross-chain gaming experience. And not just that, but through the EXO Fund, enable the community to take part in the development and the governance of the project, plus empowering the community to expand on the EXO IP and inside the EXO universe with different other experiences and anything like that.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. And if I came off a little harsh here, that's just because I'm a MVX pit bull and I just stand at the gate like just waiting. Like if something's coming, you know what I mean?
No worries. We have thick skins, and we definitely stand fully 100% behind the project that we have and the effort that we've put in it, basically. So the effort plus obviously the investment, the money, and everything else.
Hey, well, for what it's worth, welcome, my friend. Welcome.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Great question. And yeah, we need people like you in the ecosystem, Don. We need people looking out for and asking those hard questions. So great question. Great answer. Love it. And I did see Decibel react earlier. So are you there? You got a question? You want to jump up to the mic? Maybe not. Maybe no. Anyone else have any questions? We'll probably wrap it up soon here, and we'll get some final comments from the teams, and then we'll wrap it up. So let's go over to HomeX. Do you guys have any final words you want to add, or tell people how they could find out more about your project, or just whatever you'd like to add to cap it off?
Yes, thank you for having us. As I said, we have released today the full white paper. We've had a bit of a different approach in the community info releases because we've took it step by step and release each chapter of the game before release the full game wiki. We've wanted to not oversaturate with info our community, even though, as I said, we have a pretty straightforward system. Because of the lore and other parts around it, it can get a bit stuffy. And the mint, another update from us, we will try to mint in this May. next week we will release all the details on the platform, the Mint platform, and all other details. And to conclude, I would say again and talk a bit about our value props. We will have our product live from day one. We think this would bring strong adoption, and we believe that once people realize we have done more in terms of product development, people will come. Second, the nature and the straightforward system that is rooted in Web3 practices. So from the start, we have this potential of a large audience and adopters. So, and last but not least, the nature of our art story and branding that is not a typical or it's not typical for a classic NFT project, because we believe that to break this ongoing loop that stuck us in time, we have to embrace the new. We have to build fast, and the most important thing, we have to respect the ethos of this place.
Awesome. Yeah, I like what you said there. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys bring, and the white paper is pinned up top, so everyone go ahead, check that out. And let's move on to EXO. Any final comments, thoughts? I see you post. We got something posted from you up top as well.
Yeah, so as our friend from HomeX mentioned, we would like to thank everybody for being here, and thank you guys for hosting it and for moderating and for the questions and everything else. And basically, what we want to tell you is that we are here to build not just the project but also the community. So everybody's welcomed and invited to join us on our Discords and check out the white paper, grab some popcorn and watch the short movie. Happy to receive any kind of feedback, or happy to answer any additional questions that somebody might have over on our Discord. And always, always, always interested in having a direct one-on-one with members of our community or potential members of our community.
Awesome. No, that's great. I love you, both of your groups' willingness to come up and chat with the community. That's great. That's what we really need to see to help grow the projects and the ecosystem. So thank you all for coming up today. Thank you for everyone coming and listening. And thank you for XOXNO coming to host. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to add? Any questions or anything?
I just want to explain first that I wasn't really present at the space because I had network issues, so I heard actually like 50% of the time. But I want to just say thank you to the projects that actually come up and reply to all the questions, even to Don Paulo ones that are more direct. And yeah, I just hope that we will see more progress from both teams. And yeah, thanks guys for joining today.
Excellent. Yeah. Thanks again for everyone for coming up. Thanks for the speakers that came up, had some questions, and we will be doing another space. We do these xSpaces on Tuesdays and Fridays at 1600 UTC time. And go ahead, check these projects out. Go ahead, follow them, follow the speakers. And thanks for coming, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.